Hi, everybody. Waiting for Miss Lachey to join from Black Christian Therapy. Hi, Lachey.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, darling, I'm well. How you doing? Sound check? Everybody good? Okay,
Hmm.
good. I see Tam has joined us. Hi. Welcome. Getting folks coming in. Crystal, how you feeling?
I'm good. It's been a good day so far.
Good. You
Feeling really good
look
today.
fabulous. The
Thank
hair
you.
looks gorgeous, big and
I let the
pretty.
curls out today, so you see
They look
all the stuff.
amazing. They look amazing. You look
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you. Thank
Give
you.
folks a few minutes to come on in. I'm excited. I'm excited for our time today. I'm excited for the live to talk about our work and how we can support folks.
Yes, I'm excited. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah. All right, darling. Well, let's jump in.
All right.
Let's jump
Well,
in.
let's first introduce ourselves. I'm Crystal McDowell. I am owner of Heal Thyself Today Counseling Services based out of Charlotte, North Carolina and Atlanta, Georgia. I'm kind of by state right now. But I work with the Black women through healing, dealing with anxiety and depression. And I've been in therapy, been in business for about 5 years now. Been a therapist for 10 years. And I love what I do. It's amazing work.
Awesome. My name is Lachey Creighton. I'm originally from Oakland, California. I currently live and have been living for the last 10 years in New York City. And my organization and my business is called Black Christian Therapy. I primarily serve Black folks of faith. And I've been in practice for about, well, I've had my business for about 5 years now as a direct, 7 years now as a direct practice.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm excited to talk a little bit about it. So I kind of got into this with working with families. So my
Mm-hmm.
brother was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, and I wanted to be able to support him. So started learning more about mental health, things like that, and then
Mm-hmm.
was able to connect my family to resources. So I became a little mini social worker within my family before I even knew what social work was in that sense,
Mm-hmm.
and began supporting my brother and my parents and helping them understand how to support him primarily, which in his case meant medication. For some people, support will look like medication.
Mm-hmm.
And so helping my brother with that and continue this work to support people of faith.
Yay. Well, I'm similar. I kind of started out because originally I wanted to be a school counselor, and then I got into the grad program. And I was like, actually, I could do a little bit more because I saw how like the school can only do but so much in the school setting,
Mm,
and so I started to add on mental health counselor because I wanted to kind of reach the family unit and be, you know,
mm,
beyond the four walls of the school system. Although I still work with kids back then a lot, I saw how the
mm.
family structure really impacted how the children showed up at school.
Absolutely.
So let me go back to the root. Let me start here then, because schools
Yes.
it was nice, but I like the more I guess the family approach better. So
Hmm.
that's kind of I got to where I am now, and now I like working with Black women because we need it the most. I feel like I
Yes.
know that it's kind of like everybody does it, but no, I think everybody that I know because I know about Black women, but to
Yeah.
have a clinician advocating just for you and setting focus only
Yes.
on you makes a difference in the quality of care you get. So that's not like.
Wow. Yeah, I know we have like this beautiful agenda, Crystal, that we're going to go
Mhm.
into,
Oh yeah, we do.
but you said something so powerful that I think people don't recognize or that gets shunned sometimes or get looked upon or frowned upon.
Mhm.
You said it makes a difference when somebody specializes and advocates for you.
Mhm.
What does that mean? Like as a Black woman, when you hear someone say, "This is who I serve, this is why I serve them, I am not confused on
Mhm.
my calling in this way. I'm not confused on where God called me. I'm unapologetically serving Black women." Like,
Mhm.
can we say live? Can we
Yeah,
take a moment
because
to receive that?
it makes a difference. Even like me choosing like my hairstylist, my nail tech, my primary provider, because this world we live in wasn't created for us. It wasn't created with us in mind. The systems that we operate within,
Systems, right?
like even the medical field, the professional
Mm-hmm.
world. They were not created with the Black woman in mind. And
Right.
so when we step into spaces, the things we do or say, they're unfamiliar, they're not comfortable or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have a professional that intentionally chooses to go against the norm essentially
Yeah.
and work with
Mm-hmm.
you or learn how you operate and learn more about your body and learn, the things that you do, you can tell in the care, you can tell in how they really approach their care towards you, how they talk to you,
Mm-hmm.
because like, oh, because they intentionally study how to help Black women do, whether it's hair, nails,
Right,
OBGYN,
right.
whatever it may be, they study that intentionally because there's not a lot of studies out there for us. And so
Right.
when you find a provider that says, hey, I work with this population, it makes a difference, and you can
Yeah.
feel it in the
Yeah.
care you receive, and also the output you get from as well.
The quality assurance is there. And it's
Yes.
something that we offer each other when we're with each other. Like
Mm-hmm.
even when we got on the live, first thing you said, "Oh, I love the hair. I love the," that is like, yeah, that's our way of saying I see you.
Mm-hmm.
And we know how to look at each other and know how each other's doing. Like when you got it
Mm-hmm.
together, I mean, for the most part, right?
Yeah.
As clinicians, obviously, we know people can mask all that, but we know how to be like, okay, the curls are
Mm-hmm.
out, right? Like switch up on the hair is
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. That means I'm feeling good. I was able to switch my hair. If I
Yeah.
wasn't too busy, or maybe I was really busy, but I took the time to do it. So I had a sacrifice. So maybe it was a labor of
Mm-hmm.
love. Whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, the way we greet each other, the way we talk to each other is really communication so much
Mm-hmm.
deeper, right?
It is.
Yeah, I
It is.
love that, Crystal, that you said unapologetically that you focus on Black women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so good. I come from a similar vein when I talk about Black Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I see a lot of different types of people. I have clients who are not Christian, who are not Black, right? But I am unapologetically trying to focus
Mm-hmm.
on supporting Black Christians. And it feels so good. And I find so much satisfaction in the work that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you start early out, it's this thing of where, you're supposed to be able to help everybody. You're supposed to be able to help everybody in this way. And then you
Mm-hmm.
realize, like, if you're helping everybody, you're not really helping anybody. So I love
Mm-hmm.
that you said
That's true.
that. So
That's true.
great point. Chris, I want to ask you, kind of tell me a little bit about your self-care. As we're talking about hair, how we
Mm-hmm.
take care of ourselves. I'm interested in how you do it as a clinician, someone who's often taking care of other people.
Mm-hmm. My self-care routine, it varies on the day.
Okay.
But usually eating good food, moving my
Mm,
body, and journaling, and then prayer. Not only that
mm,
order, but those are things that I do every day that kind of keep me grounded.
okay.
Um, I like to eat. I love
Okay.
good food. Not cooking that much, but I do like to eat a lot. And
Hmm.
so I do make sure that the quality of food I eat is healthy for me and good for me. Moving my body either through like working out, going for my little walks. I do walk a mile a day. Even if it's around my island, my kitchen, I'm walking
That's
because I work at home. And
awesome.
so keeping my body active is really important to me. I love walking outside, but when it rains, I'm inside. I have a walking pad, but it ain't the
Hmm.
same thing.
Yeah,
And
true.
then journaling. And so every day or every morning or night before I go to bed, before I go to bed or before I start my day, depending on the mood that I'm in, I'm
Hmm.
journaling in my journal. I have a lot of thoughts all day long, whether it's just
Hmm.
like what I ate, what I wore, what a client said. I take a lot of information in. Like we consume so much, and
Yeah.
I'll always get it all out. I always have like a place to just kind of a
Yeah.
person or anything. I kind of just have to.
Yeah.
So my journal is like a place where I just kind of dump out things where I'm thinking all the emotions, all the things that kind of overwhelm me or slow me down.
Hmm.
I love it. Journaling is like I can go back at least 5 years in my journals. And I'm like, wow.
Wow.
And to see the growth where I used to be to where I am, I
Yeah.
thank God. But it's like, it's cool to document it over time to kind of see what was going on back then. And then also now you see why it was going like, oh, this is why I went through this. So I can go through this thing again. Like so
Mm.
journaling helps me to kind of reflect on where I've been and also
Mm.
explore where I want to go and just kind of get out of my head. I'm in my
Yeah.
head a lot throughout the day. So journaling is helpful. And then of course prayer.
Yeah.
Prayer is a part of my self-care, it's part of my routine. Talking to God, that's all I got most days. And so
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that is really important to me to have that consistent prayer life because it sustains me,
Hmm.
truly. It's got me this far. So
Hmm.
I'm a big advocate for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's going to lead us into our part of what we're going to talk a little bit about the different ways that people take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned how you do things physically to kind of take care of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and spiritually, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prayer is very spiritual, and we know, like through the science, that when you're praying, it actually changes the way information processes through your brain, right? It
Mm-hmm.
impacts the frontal cortex, right? There was a study done where people lifted their hands in what was considered power poses,
Mm-hmm.
and even just doing that, it decreased stress. They felt
Wow.
more empowered. So imagine, and of course, what do we think of these poses as? Often that's worship. God, like I give
Mm-hmm.
myself to you. I surrender, right? I know I can't change
Mm-hmm.
everything. I know I can't control everything. So I
Mm-hmm.
surrender to you. So one of the best things that you can do is to humble yourself in prayer, humble yourself
Mm-hmm.
in journaling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mhm.
realizing more and more in supporting clients in the concept of journaling being a experience of humility. A lot
Yeah.
of times people say, "Oh, I don't really like to journal," or "It doesn't really work for me." It just feels like, well, it doesn't have to be something that really works for you or that you kind of quote unquote like.
Mhm.
Try it out. See what it
Mhm.
see. Yeah, it's gonna do what it does. It's like I don't like greens or spinach. Well, okay. Right. Well, at some
Mhm.
point, we're gonna have to figure out how to get you some greens and spinach. It works, right? The
Mhm.
science is there. So I love that you mentioned the spiritual aspect as well, and that those things don't have to collide against the clinical or the physical. They're
Mhm.
all
Mhm.
important. And whether it's Christianity, we respect where everyone moves and how they move, right? But the
Mhm.
reality is that that spiritual component is very important. So,
It's critical. And I
mhm.
think so with my clients, I do what we call a self-care plan. And that includes a
Mm,
financial, emotional, spiritual, and physical part to it because I believe when those areas are fulfilled and poured into wholly, then you can operate at your best. When areas like for
mhm.
me, if I don't sleep 8 hours a night, I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
a good therapist the next day because
That's
I'm gonna be tired
right.
and irritable. But we do need to have those routines in place to protect us, keep us going.
Yeah, Crystal's like, it's godly to sleep.
It
Right.
is.
It's
These 8 hours.
worship. He knows how to sleep. Right, right. He calls us to rest. One of my favorite scriptures
Hmm
is, "Fear not, little flock, for it's thy Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." Like
hmm
we don't have to fear those things, right? That brings me
hmm
to the other question I wanted to ask about kind of with personal struggles or trauma or grief, things like that. How do you support clients in that?
hmm So most of the clients come to me when they are right either in a traumatic moment or is ended, like the right after it's ended. So they're like almost crisis mode. And so when our client comes in that space, I try to ground them, number
Hmm.
one. Like sometimes they're a little unsettled, they're a little anxious, a little scared, overwhelmed, worried, all the things. And so it's important to really ground yourself and ground your nervous system so that you can even
Mm-hmm.
hear me. Because sometimes, the first session is like, where are you from? What's
Mm,
going on? It's like, well, hold on. Like, I can't breathe right now. Like, I can't relax because
yeah.
I'm worried about XYZ. But
Mm-hmm.
I try to meet them where they are through grounding the
Mm-hmm.
nervous system. And that looks like deep breathing. That looks like, hey, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Really close your
Yeah.
eyes, inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth before we even get started. Because I can sense the anxiousness sometimes to the screen through
Mm-hmm.
our sessions. And it's like, I can't work with that because if you're coming in like
Mm-hmm.
this, I can't, I mean, I can, but
Yeah.
it's harder it's like I'm fighting you. And I don't want to fight, I want to help you.
Right.
So I try to make sure we
Exactly.
ground it and we match, like, usually I'm pretty calm, cool, collected most
Yeah, I can see
days.
you have a very nurturing, calming presence about
Thank
you.
you.
So it's beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. And so I try to help my clients get to there too. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's hard, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely deep breathing and slowing down.
Yeah.
Sometimes you say, hey, turn the camera off. Like, because we meet
Right.
virtually, just turn it off.
Right.
I'm here, so I still hear you, but I need you to kind of focus on you and internally right now and not like the things going on around you. And so being still with them in the moment, being
Mm-hmm.
grounded in the moment, that kind of helps to get it started. And then we kind of say, hey, what's going on? What happened? And usually it
Yeah.
all
Yeah. I
comes
love
out.
that.
It comes
Yeah.
out. And I mean,
I know
like,
it's
it's
like clients will
cathartic.
hold it in, and
hmm
then all they need, they try to come in all happy, like, "Oh, I'm doing good." I'm like,
hmm
what happened? Right? And then it comes out. It's like they just need someone to say, what happened?
hmm
What happened? Right? Like
hmm
you bring up such a beautiful point of just being with the client.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I think the conception around mental health and therapy is that everybody's coming with this high level of depression, or
hmm
everyone's coming with, a mood disorder, or will need psychotropic medication. Not at all. Most of the people
hmm
that I serve, that's not what they need. They're bouncing ideas off of me. They're letting me
hmm
know some of their deep, dark things that they've held in, things that they want. Sometimes I have clients come, "Hey, I'm gonna go talk to my husband about this or my wife about this." I want a good ear, someone who's
hmm
non-biased to talk to
hmm
about it before I take it to my spouse, which I think is such a beautiful thing to do.
Yeah. I think we do a thing that people don't do in the real life. We hold
Hmm.
space for each other.
Yes.
And I think that in real life, we just keep going back and forth, like, oh, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. But like as a therapist, I guess our gift is like, I hold space for you. So this time, this hour and a half hour of our session is
Yes. It's
yours. You
yours.
get to
It's
just,
yours. All
all the
you.
things. And that's why I love
Exactly.
therapy. I go every week.
Yes.
I love,
I
it's a
love it
great
too. I
tool.
love my therapy. When I tell you the way First of all, sometimes I be trying to get 2 sessions in. My therapist be like, depends, you know. My therapist be
Mm-hmm.
backing me up a little bit, but I actually enjoy my therapy. I have tons of fun. And that's not to say that it's mutually exclusive from really doing real work. Sometimes I
Mm-hmm.
cry, sometimes I'm sad, sometimes I'm happy. Sometimes I leave the session like I have the same feelings and emotions that my clients have
Mm-hmm.
as well. And I think it's so powerful in an act of professional responsibility for
Mm-hmm.
us as therapists, right? I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I have all these different segments of my life.
Mm-hmm.
How dare I? How dare I get before a person that's giving me their life, literally giving me their life, and I not have my stuff in order? That's not to say they're
Mm-hmm.
being perfect, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
even really want to give that disclaimer because, of course, none of us are perfect. So that goes without saying. But how dare I go before someone and try to prepare a space for them that's not whole? So I
Mm-hmm.
consider it a huge professional responsibility. I consider it an act of humility as a therapist to feel what they feel on that other end.
Mm-hmm.
And my sessions are some sessions are really fun. I have a lot of fun with my clients. My clients have fun with me. We can
Yep.
laugh, we can talk. They could go back to crying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we could pick up. And because I do a lot of trauma work,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm realizing that was one of the things you're gonna ask me to, Crystal, but because I
We're
do a
gonna
lot
get
of
to
trauma,
it.
because I do a lot of trauma work,
Mm-hmm.
it's important to be with that client and not make everything about the trauma.
Right.
That is like, that is so dehumanizing. That every time a
Mm-hmm.
person comes to session, you just want to talk about their trauma as if that's the essence of who they are. There's so much more than that. Their trauma. There's so much more than the things that they experience. And
Mm-hmm.
so I find a lot of the way that I can pull out a lot of strength from the client is to help them understand that they're actually not just their trauma. This is a section of life that
Mm-hmm.
has happened to you. It's a portion of
Exactly.
your life. You're going to have more life lived than you had of what happened to you. So
Mm-hmm.
helping the client not just rearrange in some hooky kind of, mystical way, but actually saying, yeah, that
Right.
happened. And this, and they have the right to say, and this is happening, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
having this happen, and this happen, and this. It's all about the and, not the but.
Mm-hmm. I love that. But which goes into our next a question that we got in our question box was how to get back to normal
Mm,
routine after
mm,
trauma and what that
yeah.
looks like. So do you have any reflection from that? Because I feel like that's your lane, but I have some things, but you go first. Let
Yeah.
me hear what you
Yeah,
have to
no,
say.
that's so good. I'm so happy someone asked that, Crystal. And you and those who have joined us on the live, please feel free to drop any questions in the comment box. We
Mhm.
hope to do more of these lives and kind of, so even if we don't get a chance to it today, we'll save them. That's such a good question. This concept of trauma is very interesting to me. I want our
Mhm.
time together in the lives that we do to not be overly clinical, right?
Mhm.
Today we're just kind of introducing ourselves, and then we'll have more lives this week. So Tuesday
Mhm.
and Wednesday, right,
Yep.
Crystal? So yeah, so we have more to come. We're also gonna be talking about romantic relationships for y'all who trying to get ready for the
Mhm.
summer. You trying to be outside. We got something
Mhm.
for you. The concept of trauma is a very interesting one to me. I'm still opening that up
Mhm.
because I'm constantly trying to decolonize therapy. I'm
Mhm.
constantly, even within myself, the work of retraining our brain to take away white supremacy because it's
Mhm.
so ingrained in the world. Like you said, like you started off with talking about how these systems weren't created for us. In fact, we were exploited, abused, mutilated, violated
Mhm.
in these systems for even knowledge to
Yeah.
come, right? Even
Yeah.
the OBGYN system, right?
Yeah. Especially.
So those are all systems that exploited and violated us, specifically, obviously, as women, but men too.
Mhm.
So I'm constantly trying to open up the word trauma and make sure I don't approach it from a Eurocentric white dynamic. Some of
Mhm.
my favorite scholars, so if you're watching this and you want to get names down, Amos Wilson, prolific, scholar, Black psychologist who talks about our journeys are not like other people's journeys. So our
Yeah.
psychology won't be like other people's psychologies,
Right.
right? Across the diaspora, whether it was here, white supremacy in
Mhm.
the US, colonization and imperialism in the West Indies, our on the continent of Africa. They're all different.
Mhm.
There's similarities and there's differences and there's similarities. Nonetheless, it rings
Mhm.
true that our psychology will look different because of our experiences. And so I think when I open up trauma, when I think about supporting a client through trauma, I start there, not just
Mhm.
what happened, but how do we open this up to where you don't think about it like white Eurocentric
Mhm.
dynamics of it, right? So supporting
Mhm.
the client starting from the very beginning and asking them what is trauma, because the way we look at trauma as Black people may not it may not always
Right.
match. what other
Right.
people are saying is trauma,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not justifying or rationalizing some behaviors or, our experiences, but I'm saying that we don't have to run and call everything trauma because it was hard,
That's
because it was
true.
challenging, because it
Mm-hmm.
hurt. Lots of things hurt,
Mm-hmm.
or because we hurt for a long period of time. It may
Mm-hmm.
have been traumatic,
Yeah.
but that doesn't necessarily make it
Right.
trauma. Or even if it's trauma, what does that mean? Is trauma always something that is quote unquote bad per se,
Right.
right?
Or
Like you can have an
uncomfortable.
injury or uncomfortable, right? There's so many ways
Mm-hmm.
we can open that up. So I start there with the client.
Okay. I like that approach because that kind of really defines it for them and you as well. And for me, when clients come in with questions like that, I think I focus on explaining that, what of course, figuring out what for them what trauma is, and then explaining
Hmm.
that like, but now that it's happened, this traumatic event has happened,
Hmm.
there is no more normal.
Yeah.
Like we cannot go back to what we thought was before
Yeah.
because you're now traumatized. Doesn't mean that we can't go back to something similar,
Hmm.
but the trauma or the thing that happened, whether it's a life-changing experience or whether it was, I don't know, the event that changed your life moving forward
Hmm.
did just that. It changed
Hmm.
your life. And
Yeah.
so because of that, we cannot go back to what used to be. There's no
Yeah.
more, I guess now it's essentially a new
Yeah.
normal. And I
Yeah.
think that that part is the scary part where it's like, this happened to me. How do I adjust to life now? How do I figure
Hmm.
out what life is now? And it's almost like you have to relearn certain parts of
Hmm.
yourself because you've changed, you evolved through that moment.
Hmm.
And it's not the same as it used to be. It doesn't have to be. I mean, you want it to be, but part of that is grieving what you lost. And part of that is
Yeah.
losing part of your old self or the old versions of you.
Yeah.
And that's what trauma does to us. It
Yeah.
changes us.
Yeah. It changes
For the
us.
good, for the
Yeah.
better. That's to be
It's
debated,
to,
but it's a
right. Well,
change.
it's up to that client to define it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think about even now, with teeth, like you lose teeth, it's traumatic to lose a tooth, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing comes out, it departs from your body, it repositions itself, it says I no longer will be a part of this body,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's all kind of processes that are happening when you lose a tooth.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming through the birth canal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or via
Yeah.
cesarean. All those things are quote unquote, it's by definition of trauma, it would be considered trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with you that we're allowed to rewrite our narratives around these things. We're allowed to, take care of ourselves in the midst of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, Crystal, I'm wondering what role can therapy play in helping someone recover from racial trauma and
Mm.
succeed in their careers?
That's a good
So, this
question.
is for the career girlies out there and folks, the career girlies in
That's a good question. First of all, therapy is a great tool in general, no matter what you're going through in life. Having that
the.
safe
Okay.
space, but particularly to racial trauma,
Mm,
I feel like sometimes we've sort of normalized racial experiences because it's part of the American
fabric.
way. And so you
Mm-hmm.
may not even realize that you've been traumatized racially
Mm-hmm.
because of what you've kind of been pushing through these years.
Mm-hmm.
But when you and in places that are corporate and where it's not really safe for us
Mm-hmm.
to do but so many things, I think the trauma is a little bit louder, where you see like
Mm-hmm.
the disrespect, you see the dismissing, you see
Mm-hmm.
the kind of people just don't respect you because of the color of your skin. And
Mm-hmm.
so having a therapist during that time is extremely helpful because it helps you to have more a place to process, a place to plan, and also a place for additional support, even just through getting additional resources and information. I know for me, my clients advocate for them to always use their FMLA,
Yeah.
which is the Family Medical Leave Act, where
Mm-hmm.
you are guaranteed time off work to take care of
Yeah.
yourself or someone else.
Yeah.
And that to take care of yourself when you are emotionally wounded,
Mm-hmm.
whether it is through having anxiety attacks at work, being over stressed out, that can
Mm-hmm.
literally kill you. People
Yes, it
say, "Oh,
can.
no, it's just stress," or no, no. When you
Mm-hmm.
come to me every week and you're crying and shaking and
Yeah.
on 10 with your anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and physically you're not sleeping, you're not eating, you're not
Mm-hmm.
well. And
Yeah,
so
you're not well.
as your professional support, I'm saying, hey, you need taking a break. You need to stop. And if you don't
Mm-hmm.
stop, your body will stop for you. And I hate to
Yeah.
say it like that so dramatically, but
Yeah.
it's true. Our body's going to take but so much of the emotional stress before it does start to
Mm-hmm.
break down. And that does look
Mm-hmm.
like you're not sleeping, not eating, high stress, high blood
Mm-hmm.
pressure and overly anxious and just being shaken, like
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Our bodies start to react. And if we don't take care of ourselves, nobody else will.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as having a therapist during that time, it's definitely important to have someone to advocate for you because sometimes in those moments you're so clouded in the forest. You don't really see the big picture of it all. And if you tell me, hey, my overall goal is to get to A, B, and C, but you're stuck at A because you can't get past this
Mm-hmm.
moment, say, hey, come here, let's sit
Right.
down for a second. Let's
Right.
talk about
Come
this.
here.
What's
Come on,
going
sit
on?
down. Right.
Because you said you wanted this, but you know this take you got to go through this to
Right.
get to there. Let's figure
Right.
out how to do that in a way that's most healthy for you to get there. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you to get there and be burned out and be overwhelmed or just not make it because you're tired because you're emotionally exhausted. But
Mm-hmm.
you said you want it, so let's figure out how to get it. And have a therapist who's not in it with you. Like I'm not there day to day, but I'm there
Mm-hmm.
week to week. And I hear it and I
Right.
see it
Right.
on you. And so
Right.
therefore I have that insight that you may not have to give that support to you. So and that's kind of how I would approach it.
Yeah, that's so good. I know you have a question there too that I want to get to. I want to
Mhm.
add this component because I am so big about supporting clients through racial trauma.
Mhm.
Because when you look at the things that we as Black folks go through on a regular basis, we already got our own stuff, historical
Mhm.
trauma, and that can be ingrained in our genetics, literally.
Mhm.
And so the component of racial trauma is so dangerous and it's so wicked and it's
Mhm.
evil
Mhm.
and we don't call it out like we should. We don't
Right.
call it the evil that it is. It becomes this thing where you could train a person out of
Mhm.
it, or you could just help a
Mhm.
person, or you could just pray for a person. But it's like if it's any other evil, you don't just pray for that person. You don't just train it out of
Right.
them. You call it what it is, and you create systems of justice to work
Mhm.
directly against that evil wickedness.
Mhm.
Racial trauma is very real.
Mhm.
And it has its own particular evil to it because you can be gaslit around it,
Mhm.
right? Like if someone comes
Yeah.
directly and violates you, you can say, okay, this is what happened, this is wrong. You could clearly see something's wrong. But when it comes to racial trauma, you're left with all this confusion, trying
Mhm.
to figure out what just happened. Are you
Right.
supposed to be mad? Are you so, how you're supposed to respond to it? So I'm so happy you brought up the component of like you could see that in your body. You're shaking.
Mhm.
You're hyperventilating, like something's off, right?
Mhm.
So being able to support a client through that is so important. Excellent
Mhm.
point.
Hey, we did have a question that come through. It
Yes.
said, "Does therapy also help us come up with the tangible solutions we can apply?" And Lachey, go ahead and take it.
Hmm. So thank you. This is such a good question. Absolutely. I know folks have their different opinions on therapy. I actually used to be very anti-therapy. Well, I can't say I'm
What?
very anti. I was, darling. You would never believe it now. I
Not
know.
the
You would never believe it
therapist.
now. Yes, girl. I was like, I just pray about it. Look, I was the worst, honey,
That is
because I
funny.
just didn't know any better. I
Mhm.
didn't know that it was I don't know. I just prayed and I had I went to my parents. I don't know, went to cousins, whoever.
Mhm.
And once I was in a program and I got a scholarship, like a fellowship,
Mhm.
and one of the things that they gave us was like, oh, you can have access to a lawyer, you can have access to a therapy, you can have access to all these different components because they had a
Mhm.
network. So shout out to New Leader Scholar. I'm still very connected. They blessed my life immensely. And so I was like, okay, I'll go to therapy. It's free. I can go talk to
Mhm.
somebody. Obviously, I'm talking to them social, no problem.
Mhm.
Yeah. And since then, I sat down in a few sessions. I was like, oh, this lady has changed the way I think. I want to be a
Mhm.
therapist. It was in that
Wow.
moment, like 3 sessions in. Yeah. So I wanted to be a therapist from going to therapy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think the tools you learn are just they're tools just for you. Like, of
Yes.
course, there's some like one size. There's some general things you can do, but in therapy, you get to learn like individually. Hey, I know when I get triggered, this happens,
Yes.
and then I can do
Yes.
X, Y, and Z to calm myself down. And I think that you can't get that
Sure.
unless you're in therapy. You can get something close,
Right.
but like, of course, journaling, reading, walking, all things that they're told to do to cope. But like to get that individual one-on-one,
Right.
like here's your toolbox or here's your
Yes.
guide to take care of
I
you,
love that.
you got to go to therapy to get it. Because I can't tell you,
Yeah.
hey, based on what you're wearing today, I
Yeah.
know you may benefit from doing this. But no, you
Yeah.
got to actually talk to somebody and tell them what happened, what you've been through, and then we
Yeah.
can kind of create something that works for you.
That works for you.
Because you know, we learn you, but of course, what was best for you in
Yes.
those situations.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I'll add to that to be direct to the question as well, is that I know because I was bringing up the fact that I know when you sit online, it looks like, oh, the person's sitting on the couch
Hmm.
talking about their little, their very privileged life or something. There's different styles of therapy,
Yeah,
y'all.
that's
So we have what we
true
call
too.
modalities. So for some people, what you commonly see on TV, a person sitting on the sofa while a person's in the background doodling, that would probably be more like what's called
Hmm.
psychoanalytics, psychoanalysis. they do that where they're doing very little talking. And the tool that because we, the therapists, we are the tool.
Yep.
So when you're a writer, you pick up a pen or a pencil and you write. The tool, the actual instrument is the tool. We, the therapists, we are the tool. So how we
Mm-hmm.
present, how we show up, even in therapy, I have my personality show up, but I don't overcrowd the space of the room with my personality.
Mm-hmm.
So I can appear not bare, right? But me, myself being there, you collide with everything that I bring, and that's how
Mm-hmm.
you get your solutions. That's how you come up with your tangibles. I might repeat what you said. And I have clients that I don't, some clients, you don't have to say much. You could just say, so what I'm hearing is that, and then they hear it and they're like, oh, well, when you said it like that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the tangibles and the tools that you come up with and the ways that you support you
Mm-hmm.
directly collides against the self at that time in therapy. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, there are lots of ways to do even DBT, right? Crystal
Yeah.
dialectical behavior therapy.
Mm-hmm.
That's something where it's highly skill based.
Yep.
So your therapist you can meet with in a session and just let that session be DBT. I have clients that I do that with.
Mm-hmm.
I love DBT because the client can come, say what's going on, boom, we solve the problem. On to the next, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
very, very skill based,
Right.
very tangible based. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the more we get along, we'll explain a little more about the modalities. I feel like people think therapy is just sit and talk, and it's like, no, we know
Yeah.
we talk intentionally. We have things we want to
Yes.
say, but
Yes.
sometimes the DBT, CBT, MDR, all those letters
Yeah.
get lost. Like, what are you doing again?
Yeah.
And those things
I
that
know.
we know like this, but the client is like, I just want to get through this. And it's like, well, which method do you think will work best? And you just don't know. And so
Yeah.
I think
You don't know.
finding
Yeah.
education on that be helpful as well because
Yeah.
they don't know
Yeah.
DBT,
People
CBT.
don't know, and
I
we
didn't
didn't
know
either,
till
right?
recently.
Yeah, exactly. We're humble with you. We didn't know until we got trained, until we
Hmm.
started doing this work,
Hmm.
So that
Hmm.
that brings me to a very important component, Crystal. You really believe in supporting therapists. So you have some things coming up,
Hmm.
retreats, resources, all kind of stuff.
Yes.
So I'm excited to hear about that as well.
Yes, coming soon from Heal Thyself Today, we are going to be doing two things for, well, actually, several things.
Yeah, we got
The
lots
first of
of
all,
good
for my
stuff.
clients, I'm going to be opening up services for EMDR, which
Hmm.
means eye movement rapid. No,
Desensitization.
this, you know what I
It's
mean.
so many acronyms,
It's so
y'all. We
many
don't know
letters.
so many acronyms. Yeah.
But it's a method of therapy that works with people who have intense trauma
Hmm.
and is very, very structured. I'm working on that coming soon, as well as the e-guide to go with clients to help them process things in between sessions that I'm not
Hmm.
there for. And then for my fellow therapist, I'm building a retreat for us to go to somewhere to
I
go
love
away to
it.
take care of
So
ourselves.
excited.
We're going to heal. We're going to heal. We're going to take care of ourselves, get some
Yeah,
CEUs in, but also learn what rest is and learn what burnout
yeah,
is and learn how not to get to
yeah,
that point. Because we tend to give and give and give and
yeah,
overfunction so much that we just kind of don't think about ourselves too much. Because this
mhm,
industry, it's busy, but we get
yeah.
so caught up in it that we don't really pour into our own cup that much. And so I want to be
Hmm.
able to pour into our cups together and refuel us together and make sure we're good for both, make sure our tools are sharpened to go back to the field
Hmm.
and do even better work. So that's
Awesome.
in my
Yeah.
lane. So what are you working on this year? I know you got some good things coming up soon too.
Some good stuff. You know what my problem is,
Hmm.
Crystal? My problem is I have too much good stuff.
Keep
And
it coming though. Keep it
girl,
coming.
I know. Listen, it's so much good stuff that I'm so excited
Hmm.
about. So, and I have like the most amazing clients and amazing people that I get the privilege and the honor to serve, and they
Hmm.
help me know what else is new, right? Because
Hmm.
I'm serving high achieving Black women primarily and high
Hmm.
achieving Black men. I definitely don't want to leave the fellas out. I'm very cognizant of that.
Hmm.
But most of my clients will be high achieving Black women.
Hmm.
And so we have some workbooks coming. We have a workbook on my website right now on Black Christian Therapy. You can check out the workbook online. It's the alignment workbook. It's an amazing workbook that I'm so proud about, that I
Hmm.
hope to add to. So that's there. Some resources, and I'm really honing in on my supervision. So I've been supervising up and coming, or
Good.
just different age group, different career groups of social workers and
Hmm.
clinicians.
Hmm.
So for the last 5 years, maybe 5, 6 years. So if you are a
Nice.
clinician, definitely reach out so you can be trained on our wonderful model at Black Christian Therapy. It's the Black Christian Therapy model on
Hmm.
how you, as the Black Christian Therapy, can take care of yourself as a therapist, but also different modalities and tools that I've used over the years and been able
Hmm.
to build a niche organization with. to be able to support the clients that I serve. And so a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have reached out or might say, hey, how do you do this? What do you do about this? So now it's all together in some information and packet with you. We have a tier system. So you can check us out. You can head over to our website, www.blackchristiantherapy.org, to check that out. So I'm excited about that. We have some meetups.
Yay.
I'm a girl's girl. So
Yes.
yes, I'm a girls girl, girl. So I'm girly. I love to be amongst sisters. Sisterhood is so important to
Mm-hmm.
me. So I have some materials and resources on how to be a girl's girl. I
Right.
didn't realize that a lot of folks, you know, what you see kind of come naturally, you don't think about as much. And there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people who just don't know how to be a friend
Mm-hmm.
and maybe want to be a friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or don't know how to seek out that friendship.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some material coming up on that. So check that out. And then some meetups. I hope to do some
Yay.
meetups in the city.
This
Yeah.
is good. I'm excited for us. Doing a lot of good things this year. So we're going to meet again here
Yeah.
tomorrow at
Yes.
2 o'clock
Yeah.
to go over what's tomorrow's topic? Is it the
Tomorrow we'll be talking about racial trauma at work. So we'll be very specific tomorrow.
mm-hmm,
So I know the corporate girlies need to plug in.
for real?
Plug in.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
good. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good. So I know we have a few people as we're closing. Did anyone have any questions before we close out? Thank you for joining us. And I'm sure people will view this live later.
Yeah, I'll be sure to save it
Mhm.
so we can come back to it later too.
Any
Well, thank
questions?
y'all
All
for all
right.
coming in. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
thanks,
I'm so
ladies and fellas, and
glad you're
all who
here.
joined. Yes, so please spread the word, get us out there, share with family, friends, loved ones. We hope to be doing a lot more of these. So take care. Bye, everyone.
Thank y'all. Y'all take
Take
care.
care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, darling.